Okay. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. We'll be starting in just a few minutes. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out. I appreciate your attendance, and you are attending the Seniors Workshop to Protect You and Your Assets. And we have several departments throughout the county that are helping with this event. I am Kathleen Carrier, your DuPage County Recorder, and we will have the state's attorney, Bob Berlin, who is standing in the back. His rep is Diane Michaelek. And we have the Sheriff's Department. We have Ed Castillo. And we have the treasurer, Gwen Henry, sitting in the back. And then we have our IT cybersecurity expert, Michelle Amante, and she is going to be starting us off today. So your turn, Michelle.
Good morning. Glad everyone can make it out. My name is Michelle Amante. I'm the cybersecurity analyst here at DuPage County. Today, I'm going to cover tech support and computer scams, along with a short demonstration of a typical scam call. So what do you want to watch out for? A common scam starts with an email, a phone call, or a pop-up notification telling you that there's a problem with your computer, such as a virus or other technical issue. As you can see, here's an example of one that you may run across. This kind of scam may also have sounds or a voice in the background to make this fake warning even more concerning to you as the computer user. It's going to throw a whole bunch of scary looking things at you in the hopes that you think something is actually wrong. So why do scammers do this? They'll do this in an attempt to obtain sensitive personal or financial information from you that they will then turn around and sell or use maliciously. In scams that request access to your computer to fix something, they will usually steal files or install malware. One of the reasons this type of scam is so effective is because people naturally want to be helpful or to stay out of trouble. If your computer is showing a flashing window and literally yelling at you that you clicked something bad or illegal, your first instinct is going to be to prove that you didn't do anything of the sort. So then you'll call the number on the screen to clear your name, but the people on the other end are lying about who they actually are. You may ask, isn't this difficult for the scammers to do? Some people think that these kind of scams are expensive or difficult to pull off, but are they really? No. In many cases, the tools that they use are low cost or free. The tool that I use to create the voice that you'll see in the demo coming up actually has a free version, and the full paid version was only $30. It should also be noted that one of the old telltale signs of fraudulent email used to be bad spelling or grammar, but that is not a reliable indicator anymore, since a lot of the verbiage is now generated by AI or chatbots. On the next couple of slides, I'll show you screenshots from an email spoofing program. As far as cost goes, it was free. So here you'll see the actual spoofing interface. Pretty simple. The software does almost all the work for me. I just have to enter in what I want to put in there, what I want to send. You can even put links in there. If you look, it actually says scam.com. So I can embed that into any email, send it to anybody I want. And then this is what the user will see when it's received by the target party. So you can see everything exactly as I entered it into the software. This is one of the reasons why it is so important to not implicitly trust emails, and why it's important to hover over and carefully review links that may be included in an email that you receive. So what can you do about these types of scams? If you get a call that's pushy or asking for personal information, feel free to just hang up. If you get the virus warning screen, the easiest thing to do is to quickly reboot your computer. Usually everything will be fine after that, but you can get a trusted friend or family member to take a look at it if you wish as well. Don't get out information or let strangers get onto your computer remotely if you don't know them, even if they claim to be from Microsoft or other large entities. If you do happen to let somebody on and you realize that they may be doing something that doesn't quite make sense to you or doesn't feel right, just shut your computer down or disconnect the network, and that'll disconnect them. Now the fun part. So this will be the scam call demonstration. Let's see here.
Let me just check on this website. Oops, I better call this number.
This is Microsoft Assistant. How can I help you?
I got this warning up on my screen.
Yes, sir. I see here that you picked up a virus. This is a very serious issue. We'll need to address it right away. There's no charge for the initial review, but if more issues are found, there will be a technician charge, $39.99.
Well, that seems like a good deal. I just don't want to get in any trouble.
Of course not, sir. Please provide me with your email address. I may send you a link. When you receive it, click this link and I'll be able to help you repair your computer.
Okay, I got the email and I am waiting to connect.
Thank you. Oh, it looks like there are additional issues, sir. I can do a full cleanup for the price that we discussed before.
Well, that's cheaper than taking it to the repair shop. Let's do it.
Okay, please just provide your credit card details and we can continue.
So obviously that was a staged phone call, but you may be surprised to learn that the scammer's voice was actually me using my voice enhancing software. The call was also actually placed over real telephones. We didn't like go in and record this anywhere. We actually used actual telephones to do that, record that call. These are so successful because the scammer, me, used a friendly tone and the offer of a free service to build rapport with the customer. And they gave a low price to finish the so-called more extensive cleanup in order to obtain the credit card details. This is just a quick one-off example. Other scams will vary a little bit. But the most important thing to remember with a lot of these scams is that companies like Microsoft will not call you or have you call them for virus cleanup. The warnings are designed to scare you into taking immediate action. They'll tell you your access has been blocked or your IP address has been blacklisted, or all your emails are going to be deleted in 8 hours unless you take action immediately. These are well-known tricks that you are now well-equipped to spot in the wild. Thank you for your time today.
Good morning. While we wait for this to load up, my name is Ed Castillo. I'm a lieutenant with the DuPage County Sheriff's Office. I know Ms. Carrier is here, so thank you for putting this on. Our sheriff loves to do these kind of events. Anything we could do for the community to stop the crime from happening, especially with scams. We always like doing them, and we're happy to be here.
My name is Diane Michaelak. I am the supervisor of the financial crime or supervisor of the elder abuse unit within the financial crimes unit at the DuPage State's Attorney's Office. And as much as I like job security, I prefer you not to be a victim of scams. So look, we have a slideshow now. So we're going to run through some common scams that I have seen throughout the time that I'm sure Ed has seen as well. So the first one is the grandparent scam. So this one, typically what will happen is you will get a phone call from somebody who goes, you know, this is your grandson or this is your granddaughter. They won't say their name unless they've done some research and figured out what your grandchild's name is. But then you'll go, you know, Billy, is that you? And they will go, yes, this is Billy. So now they know who they are. So they are now Billy. And that they will proceed to tell you that something like, I've been in an accident and I need money sent over, or I've been arrested for DUI and I need you to talk to my lawyer so you can send bond money. Whatever the scam may be, it will be involving you needing to send money to keep them out of trouble and then begging you not to call their parents because the parents know that Billy is not in fact in trouble and Billy's actually up in his room. So things to watch out for are, you know, basically the person on the other end of the phone being hard to hear, maybe not sounding like your grandchild at all, but the immediate need for money and the begging you not to tell anybody because they need to keep it secret so you don't find that Billy is actually fine and not actually involved in a car accident in Canada or a DUI in California or whatever the case may be. Because once they get you sending money, they're going to call back. The lawyer is going to call back and go, oh, we need some extra money because this just happened. And then they're going to keep asking you for money and keep taking money from you until you realize this is a scam or you run out of money, neither of which is a good plan.
The one that you'll see that involves law enforcement is somebody will call and they will say they've been arrested by the local police departments, the sheriff's office, and they need money to be bonded out or pay a fine. And sometimes they may even have a partner that will pretend to be an officer and they will give you some guidelines of this is very serious. We need money now. The police usually don't do that. You could always verify. You could call the person, see if they're home. The sheriff's office for us, you could do a search of inmates that are there, or you could call the sheriff's office, ask to be connected to the jail and confirm that that person is indeed there. So a lot of times there'll be more than one player involved, and it's probably two people that are trying to scam you, and it could be anywhere in the country. It could be anywhere in the world.
So next up are the lottery sweepstakes scams. Rule number 1, you cannot win a lottery you did not enter. This sounds basic and you're laughing, but people fall for this. You cannot win something you did not enter. And I'm pretty sure you cannot enter foreign lotteries. So when you've won the Canadian lottery, that should be a double whammy that there is something wrong. And then inevitably what happens is they convince you that you have won this lottery. However, you need to pay in advance taxes or transfer fees or some kind of monetary contribution to free up your money to be released to you. This is a scam. Do not do that. If this were real, first of all, you would have entered. Second of all, just take the fees out of what you're going to send me. You should not need me to send extra money to you to send money to me. So that's a general principle to keep in mind for any other, potential scams that you may be involved in. But you're never getting this prize money because you didn't enter and it doesn't exist. And they just want you to send money. And either you're sending money or you're giving them access to your bank accounts or your credit cards, which they are then going to go run amok with.
So with this scam and the law enforcement side, we get a lot of people that don't report this right away. The good rule to follow is always report it. I know sometimes it's very difficult because you may be embarrassed. Maybe it's just a small amount of money and you feel that's going to bother the police. But law enforcement, that's their job. We want to take their report. We want to start the investigation. And if it is something that is not in our area, for example, the scam is being run out of Washington or California, we do have partners at the federal level where we could report this to that could be investigated with them if it's something they're already investigating. So with this, even if it's something that happens to you, don't be scared, report it. And that should be with any crime, not just scams.
Nigerian scams, these have been around for eons. These typically come in your email. Sometimes they're called Nigerian scams. I've seen other ones with just lawyers in general, shady lawyers. But so you'll get an email where somebody claims that either they have money that they somehow can't get out and need your assistance, or even perhaps with some of these lawyers, it's like, oh, you've received an inheritance from Uncle Joseph in Poland or something, and that you need to provide money or bank account information or something for them to transfer the money to, or you need to provide money to allow a transfer to occur. Legal fees are usually involved in the scam and whatnot. So, anytime anybody is asking you for money, particularly asking you for money to get money, red flags should be flying and you should not be sending money to get money.
No, you did a good job with that one. I got nothing.
All right. IRS and tax scams. So these come up with, and especially at this current time of the year, where you will get where you may get contacted either by phone or by email from someone purporting to be with the IRS, suggesting that either, you owe money to the government, or that you may be receiving money and that you need to provide your bank information to get the money. In lieu of bank information, they may ask you to get gift cards, and there's a slide on this later, but gift cards, red flag. And so they could be threatening to, threatening your compliance, saying, if you don't do this, then, they're going to come and repo your house and everything you own. There's, anytime you're getting an email where there's a lot of pressure to act and pressure to act quickly, that should be a red flag. And again, anytime they want you to give money to get money should be a red flag. But keep an eye out, particularly during tax season, for things of this nature.
So the IRS usually does not do business by phone. We know this because we work with them on cases. They do everything by mail. And this isn't a bad thing for the IRS, but if you owe them money, they're just going to take it from you, right? They're going to garnish it from you. So they usually do not work with gift cards. They don't work with payments over the phone. They don't work with mail stuff in unless it's something that you already received from them in writing, or you met with somebody with the IRS or had an attorney do it. So the IRS is pretty much very easy to work with. It's either directly with them or nobody else. If there's another party or something's off besides direct contact, that should be a red flag.
Warrants and social security numbers. So I've seen a lot of these that come through our office for investigation. And I'm sure that Ed will tell you this, that if there is a warrant out for your arrest, you cannot pay for it with gift cards. The number of people who get called and say, there's a warrant out for your arrest. You need to go to Walmart and buy gift cards and send me the numbers on the back of the gift card and we'll get rid of this warrant for you. That is not how this works on so many levels. Additionally, there have been scams where people will be contacted, told that their social security number was used by somebody, for example, smuggling drugs. And so all of their assets are being frozen and that we need to assign you a new social security number. But, there are going to be some fees and costs involved in this whole thing, and all your assets are frozen. They are not. And again, if gift cards are involved, this is a scam. If you need to use gift cards to get your social security number unfrozen, scam. You want to talk about warrants and things?
So if you have a warrant out for your arrest, we do, and we have in the past called, we had a center where deputies were assigned to call people and let them know they had a warrant, but that was it. We do not take any bond. We do not take any cash. We do not get rid of your warrants over the phone. Typically, the only way to get rid of a warrant, let me know if I'm wrong, is you have to go see the judge, or you have to be processed, booked, and then given a new court date. No warrant could be taken over the phone directly from the police. We don't issue the warrants, the judges do. So typically it has come from the judicial side of it. I will caution you, people could pretend to be a police officer over the phone, and it's very hard to check sometimes. For example, we have Aurora that touches DuPage County. That's a little bit of it. We have the sheriff's office. We have Naperville. You could call over there and you could call and say, hey, do you have an Officer Smith? Because that's what the scammer gave you. It's possible there's an Officer Smith. It's a very common name. So always verify. Always call the police department directly or go to the courthouse. Our courthouse is pretty centrally located. If you're not sure, maybe you did have a warrant, stop in. See a judge as soon as you can, but do the investigation yourself. Don't do anything over the phone or over a computer.
You can also check with the clerk's office to see if there's a warrant out for your arrest. Utility scams. This is another one where you may get contacted by ComEd or NICOR or some utility agency claiming that you have not paid, you owe money, they're going to shut off your electricity, they're going to shut off your gas, unless you pay them in gift cards. And amazingly, they always want gift cards. ComEd does not take gift cards for payment. And it's amusing to me because they usually, they don't go, go get, Visa, the generic Visa credit cards. It's like, go get Apple Play or Apple iTunes gift cards, or go get, Google Play gift cards. And we're like, really? ComEd wants Google Play gift cards? I don't think so. So typically they are claiming that they're going to turn off your utilities because you're behind on payment and they are asking you to pay in gift cards. Again, as was said, first of all, you probably know your finances and that didn't happen, but sometimes things happen and you miss a payment, but they probably aren't going to shut off your power for missing a payment. But you should contact, ComEd or NICOR or whoever the entity is. Or if you're doing any online utilities or whatnot, you can check online and see what your balance is, or have a relative do that for you. But the other thing is to make sure that if you're going to call, and this applies to credit cards companies too, which may be on this later slide, but if you're going to call the ComEd or NICOR or something, make sure that you get that phone number from a legitimate source, like one of your paper bills or from a web address that you know belongs to them, because sometimes, and I know this happens particularly with the Geek Squad for Best Buy, somebody will Google Geek Squad and somehow some scammer gets like the first result when you Google that. And so the phone number you call when you think you're calling the Geek Squad to fix your computer is really just a different scammer. So make sure that if you're calling someplace that you're getting the number from a legitimate known source so that you're calling the actual place and not delving into another scam.
Just to follow up, we've worked with Comcast, Nicor, ComEd. They want to work with the residents. They want to work with law enforcement. Nothing hurts their reputation more than people pretending to be with their organization and they're not. So whether it be over the phone, they're more than happy to transfer you. They're more than happy to have you hang up on them and call them back. They understand that you're only protecting your identity, your information, your financials. Same thing in person. They understand that if you don't want to open up the door for this person who may or may not be with Comcast, they understand that requests for ID are going to be expected. These companies want this, even though it may seem like it's an extra step, they're prepared to do it. And their employees are pretty good at being patient and going with the process because, like I said, they don't want you guys to be victims. You guys are customers. They want you guys to stay with them. So they don't want you guys to be out money or have a bad experience.
Sweetheart scams, these are less prevalent, but I've seen situations where, you know, and I'm gonna stereotype it, like perhaps recent widows get online, join some sort of an online community, and then get preyed upon by someone. And it's not always necessarily a sweetheart scam. It could just be somebody befriends you and then they end up in peril. So sometimes it will be a situation where we see a lot of them where somebody claims to be in the United States military, that they have, they're supposed to be discharged or something, but they've had some sort of an injury that the government won't pay for it. And then you feel bad and then you start sending them money to either help them get out of Afghanistan or wherever they're stationed, or to help them get this medical treatment that apparently the government will not do for them. We've seen other situations where the friend online convinces somebody that they need assistance with a business and that you're going to be able to make money if you can, if you help contribute to the startup of some business. And so they kind of befriend people, and then they end up, ending up having some sort of issue where they need you to send money. So make sure that you know who you're talking to and don't send money to people because you feel bad about it.
So we had this happen. So we have a very large volunteer unit at the sheriff's office. We had a volunteer. I got an email from their volunteer. They were saying that they were in need of assistance. They were working on some financial where they were trying to get something squared away with their partner. And they wanted me to send them money, but not say anything about it. Well, I know this person. They've been with the office for a very long time. I contacted them directly. They didn't know it, but they had been hacked. And this information came out. So who this person is, we don't know, but it wasn't them. So we were able to flag it. We sent it to our IT here at the county. He contacted his subscriber for his email and it stopped. But like she said, it's one of those things where they're going to pray. If you notice a common theme, it's urgency, help, and they're going to go on your feelings and your willingness to want to help these people.
Medicaid scams. Do not give your Medicaid number out to anybody. Things that can happen include billing for services or products that aren't actually provided, billing for more expensive services than provided, double billing, and then someone offering free services, like we can get you this scooter for free, but you got to give us your Medicaid number and then we can send it to the insurance and we can process all kinds of things. You should keep that number as safe as you do your Social Security number or your credit cards. And if you see something on like an explanation of benefits or some sort of bill that you get that doesn't look right, you should report it and have it looked into to make sure that nobody is abusing the system or your number.
Very well said.
All right. So general tips: never give out your Social Security number to anybody, especially if you did not initiate the contact. So if somebody kind of reaches out to you just because they claim to be with your bank or some other entity doesn't mean that they really are. So if you get a phone call or a text message or something from, say, Chase Bank, which is where you actually bank, that says that there's some sort of a fraudulent charge. And if you want to confirm that, take out your actual credit card, flip it over, and call the number on the back of your credit card. Don't call the number back in the text message. Don't call the number back on the voicemail. Call the number back on the back of your credit card, because at least then you know that you were actually calling Chase Bank. And don't give out any information. They're not going to ask for your social security number. Again, if you receive a call, an email, or a text, you do not want to click on links. Call the number on the back of the card. If anybody is asking for gift cards, it is most likely a scam. If they want you to pay for something in gift cards, most likely a scam. Don't give out your banking information, including your account or PIN numbers. For example, with the IT scam conversation that was up here, sometimes what they'll do is that once they get remote access to your computer, for whatever reason, they will have you log into your banking information, and now they are tracking that. They can see things, they can obtain those numbers. You don't want to give out your PIN number to anybody so that they can't recreate a card and then have your PIN number. And I don't know how many of you guys are out on social media, but you're going to want to be careful what you post, because I know a lot of people are on social media to keep up with, keep an eye on their grandkids or their kids or other family members and stuff. But what ends up happening then is scammers can look at that information. So you want to make sure that your accounts are private and not public. Otherwise, for example, going back to like the grandparent scam, they can find out that your grandson's name is Billy because you post about Billy on your Facebook page all the time. Or they can check and see that you're out of town, or that you were out of town, or that somebody else is out of town. And so the information that you put out there can be public and can be used by bad guys. So you just want to be cognizant of what you put up there. Instead of saying I'm going on vacation, maybe post after you get back from vacation and say, had a lovely time in Hawaii, and post the pictures. Then people don't know that you've been in Hawaii and were out of town and your house was available, or whatever the case may be, to have extra information to use if they call and try to scam you. Okay. Anything else?
There's one thing that's going to start happening, and we see it every year. It's a burglary, but it's a burglary that invites people tricking you. It touches with ComEd. What we see on the law enforcement side is somebody will come up, and this is just one example. They are very clever. One example that we see is there's a home for sale next to your home. Somebody is coming up to your door. They'll knock and they'll say, I'm thinking about buying this property, but I'm confused on the property line. Can you come out and can you show me where the property line is? The whole goal is for them to get you out of the house so another person or persons could enter your home while you're outside. They will then go through your home, steal your valuables. A lot of times it could be somebody that's wearing a vest. So just because it says Comcast, Nicor on it, and verify that they are with the company. Ask for ID, call the company. Do not let them in if you're not comfortable or if you're not expecting them. Because again, the goal of this scam is to get you distracted to go out of the house. That could be with, we need to check the water pressure. So we need somebody to come into the basement. We need you to come out and look at the property line. The whole goal of that is for another person to come in. Sometimes they have the hard hats. Sometimes they have the walkie-talkies. They look just like an employee. We have seen other times from other departments in the area where there will be a Comcast truck in the neighborhood. They are doing legitimate work, and a scammer will pull up next to them, and they walk up to the door, and they will say, look, I'm with Comcast. That's my truck out there. Well, that's for you to verify, because maybe there is a Comcast employee or a Nicor employee doing work at a neighbor's house. So they will use these things out in the community. So verify, don't let them in if you're not sure who they are, unless you have service that you requested from a verified number. It's okay not to talk to them. It's okay to call the police. We'll go out, and like I said, if we stop them, they don't take that as a bad thing. They don't get upset by it because they know we're just verifying, and the company appreciates that also.
The other variation on that, instead of getting you out of the house, what will happen is somebody, and it's usually involves water, will say that there's some sort of a water pressure issue or something to that effect, and they will ask to come into your house, and then they will take you to another room that's away from the front door or down to the basement to go check the water shutoff valve or check the water pressure somewhere. And while they've got you isolated in some other room, other people will enter the home and take your valuables and leave. The other thing to watch out for, just because this is a personal pet peeve of mine, the people who are like seal coating driveways. If they're just walking down the street going, hey, we're seal coating driveways today, you know, don't do it. Get a reputable company if you want to have your driveway seal coated. Do not get the random guy in the pickup truck driving down the street because they're not going to do a good job and they're going to overcharge you.
Absolutely. There's so many scams out there. The only advice I could give you is if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Protect your home, protect your information, make sure that you are in control of who comes into your home and what information you volunteer is because you looked it up and you're okay doing it. If it's something you're not sure of, take a day, think about it, ask a family member for advice. We get a lot of people, all ages, that are embarrassed to ask for help, myself included sometimes, but it's okay to ask for help. This is one of those things where it's very difficult, takes a very long time, and is very stressful to repair any damages because of your Social Security, any loans that were taken out on your name. You guys remember the unemployment scam with the state? That caused so many problems for a lot of people. I don't know if they're even done fixing a lot of those problems, but it's very difficult to fix those things. You have to contact the credit bureaus. You have to prove that it wasn't you, and that's something that you guys probably don't need with your information already being compromised by unknowns.
And one other thing to keep in mind, if you get scammed in a way that you voluntarily give the money to somebody else or purchase gift cards to give to somebody else, it's very unlikely the bank is going to reimburse you when they find out you've been scammed. It's a different situation if somebody just, you know, steals your identity and raids your bank account versus you voluntarily, though being scammed, give up that money. So assume that if you hand over this money, you're never going to see it again. Keep that in mind when you're deciding whether you think that this should be looked into further.
Very well said.
Thank you very much.
The part of the workshop I'm going to talk about is property fraud. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about property fraud. In DuPage County, luckily, it is not prevalent, but it does happen. And I will give you an example of an attempted fraud in DuPage County. There was a gentleman who moved into an assisted living facility, but still owned his home. And he decided he was going to sell. Well, a deed had come through, a quit claim deed came through on his property electronically. However, he didn't know anything about it. The person who filed the quit claim deed was in New Mexico. They asked for the paperwork to be sent to Nevada. And the notary we discovered was bogus. There was no such person. And we think that it was an employee at the assisted living that overheard him talking about selling his home and somehow was able to orchestrate this. And everything looked legal. And here's the part that was the big tell. They had signatures for both he and his wife. And this was in March of 2023. His wife passed away in 2017. What happened is they were able to lift the signatures off of a previous document and put it on this bogus document. So we turned that over to the state's attorney and the Wheaton Police Department to step in, and they were able to circumvent the problem. But it does happen, unfortunately. And we're talking about credit card theft. I have a prop. Last year, we started receiving credit cards for people we didn't know. And this was our credit card number, and all of these credit cards came through. Chase Bank, reputable bank. They could not tell us how it happened or why it happened, but we ended up with 25 credit cards with 25 different names of people we've never heard of. So it happens. You need to be diligent. And one of the things that you probably should keep in mind, know who you're talking to, which goes to the point of make the phone call. Don't give the information, hang up, make the phone call and find out, why am I getting credit cards for 25 people I've never heard of? Another scam that happened to me here at work, I received an email that I ran a red light camera and that I can pay the fine if I click on the link, and I could do it between such and such a date and such a date. It doesn't tell me who is sending this. They refer to themselves as Department of Transportation. Okay. Needless to say, I didn't send the money. I didn't click on the links, and I reported it to IT just so IT knows I did do the right thing. So it happens, and we need to be diligent. And one of the things that you can do to help protect yourself is sign up for Property Fraud Alert. I have staff members in the back. Some of you filled out the forms when you came in. You can sign up for Property Fraud Alert. This is a service that that my office offers DuPage County property owners, and it's free to you. It's the same service that some sign up for and pay $20 or $30 a month. Those companies come to my office to get their information. So cut out the middleman, come direct. There's no guarantee that it won't happen, but it's a piece of oversight that will help you. The other thing that we have, if you find you are in need of legal assistance, we have information in our office, and there's some back on the table if you want to pick it up. This is for Illinois Court Help, DuPage County Lawyer Referral Service. It's got information on how you can contact a lawyer if you need help. It's in English and Spanish. So, and it's back on the table in the back, as well as Property Fraud Alert in English and in Spanish. If you have Spanish speaking neighbors that you feel it would be helpful for. And just, we need to be diligent. Unfortunately, the more sophisticated IT becomes or tech becomes, the more sophisticated the bad guys come. So we need to be our own advocates in protecting ourselves. So I am going to have Gwen come up and say a few things, and then we will have time for Q&A if anybody has any questions.
Am I coming through it all? See, if my husband nods, I'll know that somebody in the back can hear, because he's sitting on the back row. You know, I want to mention about the deed information. In my office, we don't have as much scamming as some of the others, but we know about it, and our family was helping an elderly gentleman, and he had caregivers. And one day when we were getting ready to take the trash out, we went out, and caregiver didn't take the trash out. We were taking the trash out, and we noticed a letter from the recorder's office saying, we just re-recorded your deed. And we knew that he hadn't been out there and hadn't done it. So we called out, and someone it turned out to be his caregiver, had taken him to an attorney, created a trust. The caregiver and her friend were inheriting everything. His house and everything he had was put in this trust, and he had no idea what he had done. Now, I was concerned about the attorney, and I never did get a real response on the attorney doing this, but that we had to get it and really cancel everything and redo it. So those things happen, and that's really kind of what I want to talk about today. What are the real things that are happening? I believe, the IT department here says, if you get an email that you think is suspicious, send us down. I think they're just testing me, because I get several of these every day, and they swear that they're not sending them to me, that I'm getting them. So the one I got the other day was a fraud alert, and it said someone has tried to use your ATM card in San Francisco. but it was turned down. They had the last four digits of the card, but it was not my card. And so what they wanted me to do was click on to them, and then they were going to ask me questions. And so I did not do that, but I sent it downstairs and they said, yeah, it was phony. So we get these all the time. And another big one that we do get, because in our office, we pay the bills for the county. I frequently get an invoice from, it's not an invoice, it's an email from somebody in the county, because I recognize the name. Believe it or not, it's not from them, saying, hey, Gwen, I have this invoice I need paid right away. Could you issue a check today so I won't have any problem about it? And they may have taken a course on leadership and all this weird stuff. And it's always somebody that I know did not take the course. I would not issue the bill. They would pay a check. They should know that we never pay bills that way. We don't just write a check. So those things we get on a regular basis. What we also sometimes get are people that send a check in and say, hey, we're paying a bill. Would you cash the check? But we know it's more than we need. So would you send us the difference? And what it is it's a phony check. And so if we cash it, send them the difference, and then we get an NSF check. We've never given one of those out. So that's good, but that does happen. And you could get that at home. So there are a variety of things scamming that are going on. I have an elderly friend, and I say elderly, but she's my age, so I guess it's okay. She got a text that said, someone has hacked your account. Would you call? So she called, and it was late in the evening. She didn't call her children. She gave them every piece of information they wanted because she thought they were sincere. And she gave them her social security number, her Medicare number, her mortgage companies, her bank account numbers. And do you know how hard it is to clean up that from your checking account and reissue a new checking account? We got the checking account stopped, but she paid all her bills through there. Her pension came through, her social security. Getting all this changed is very difficult. So make sure that you never give out any information to somebody that isn't entitled to it. And the other piece is, why don't you make some notes of what you have going through your account so somebody could find it all and be able to take care of it. So that's a big one. My son did a comment on a scam on Sunday. He's a pastor in a church in North Carolina. And he said, so I guess some of you have been getting some emails from me asking you to send me Apple cards and Best Buy. Let me assure you, I have not sent an email to anybody asking for a Best Buy card or an Apple. And if I don't have enough, and I don't have financial difficulties, you have to help me out. If I did, I'd call my mom. I wouldn't send you an email. So he said, but people are getting smarter about it. So they know that he signs his name. He has 4 names, and he sends his first name, his last name, he puts his initials in between. And people have even adopted that in these emails that are going out. So you just have to watch everything you do. And I look and say, anytime I get an email that I have a question about, I look and see who it came from. And you can always click and see who it came from. 9 times out of 10, if it's sent in the morning at 3 a.m, not good. If it's got a name that's misspelled, not good. And there's a lot of misspellings in these. They're getting better with AI, but they still have a lot of issues with that. So just read everything. And probably the worst one I want to tell you about is one that I mentioned last time, and I'll tell you the results of it. My sister lost $500,000 from her IRA. Didn't lose it, she gave it away in a scam. Someone called her, and it was a bad day for her. She had fallen that morning and was in some pain, and they were very friendly to her and very sweet. And so they called her back the next day to see how she was doing. And then they said, oh, by the way, you have won, and we talked about this, you have won an award, but you need to pay the taxes on it. And so they worked her on, and her son called me and said, Aunt Gwen, can't you stop, Mom? I think she's giving all her money away to somebody in a scam. Well, I talked, and she said, oh no. So I called the police, and the police wouldn't help us because this was in a town in Texas. But one of the people that she could call if she had a question was the Attorney General of the state of Texas. And I said, oh, I know who that is. So I looked up the phone number, not the number she gave me, but I looked up the Attorney General's number. The number she had gotten from them was a ghost phone number. And that's another thing, another game they play. Actually turned out to be the fax number for the Attorney General of Texas. So I said to the guy, he was an investigator, could you call her and tell her that this is just, because they told her she had to pay some money to Texas too. And he said, no, no, Mrs. Henry actually ended up calling me Gwen. No, Gwen, we can't do that. We're not allowed to do that. And I said, but you know that they're stealing from her. And so finally he called back a couple hours later and he said, okay, you were so insistent and so caring about your sister. I called your sister. He said, I didn't call these people because I couldn't call them. And he said, she's not going to send them any more money now, but she's very sad. And she was very sad. I was even sadder when I did her tax return because I'm an accountant. She had to pay income tax on all that money that had come out of her IRA account. And believe me, she didn't have any money left. The tax bill was about $250,000. And she had nothing left. And so I, being an accountant and writing the letter for the tax return, I said, she has no money. And in this case, she was dying of cancer. And I said, and she's now in hospice and there's not going to be any money coming in. I have nothing to give you. And so they were very accommodating. They did check it all out to make sure it was true. But in other cases, they might not, if you might have some money left over and you could sell a house or something, maybe you'd have to sell the house. So just be careful on all of these issues. Never, it's not don't trust people, but trust and verify, I guess maybe is the term. Just making sure that what people tell you is really the truth. And so that's what we do in our office. We don't have people cheating and scamming us as for taxes. There's pretty hard to do, but but some of these other people doing it and getting bills paid do that for it, to try to do that. So we're very careful how we spend your money because it is your money we're managing down there, that it's going to be going to the people that should receive it and not to the people that shouldn't. So we work pretty hard to make sure that that is the case. But I just want, I'm a senior too, and my husband back here is a senior. I just believe seniors are more vulnerable sometimes because we don't use the computers as much. I use the computer a lot, but a lot of seniors don't. They don't recognize some of this that comes through. So we just ask you if you have a question, if you have a family member that you can also call and trust about some of your financial affairs and say, hey, this is going on. Is it true? That would be helpful too. And I don't know if you've got children. We have 4. I've got 1. I call everything for all the software at home. So if you do that, have children that you can trust or cousins, brothers and sisters that you can trust to help you out if you've got a question about what's happening to your finances, because it happens from bankers, from brokers, just everything can get to you. And so just always, question and verify before you give out any money. So I think we want to ask some questions.
Yeah, we can open it up for Q&A. If anybody has any questions, we can come with the mic and talk to
I'll
you.
bring the mic to you. But I won't give it to you. Last year we gave it to somebody and couldn't get it back.
Okay.
You want to take it to him? Sure.
I just wanted to share because I've had some hacks over the last year, and if you feel that you've been hacked or compromised, contact all 3 of the credit bureaus, report it to them, and then they can also put a freeze on your credit that keeps these companies from accessing your information, because even these hacks that are outside the country, they go through that bureau and verify your information, and then that money is stolen. But if there's a freeze on your credit report, it gets denied. And there's a problem where you'll need to call them when you want to buy a car or get a new mortgage, because when they do a credit check, it will be blocked. So you have to keep in mind that you have a freeze, and then you have to notify them that I'm given permission to have this person do it or whatever. Then the other one is your banks and your credit cards. When you sign in, go to your account, and there's a 2-factor. There's also messaging where instead of just your password, it texts you a 6-digit or 9-digit number that you have to enter. to get access to your accounts, but also because of all the store cards is, you now can set up messages that if somebody actually gains access, you know, if you use a reader and it copies your card, that transaction gets sent to your email, letting you know that somebody just charged $100 at Myers or Target or whatever. And so going into security in all your credit card and your bank accounts, there's about 4 different settings in all 4 securities now. And then the thing about the gift cards, and the newest thing, and I mean, it was posted on CBS.com, is that people are going into the store, they're scratching off those numbers on those cards, sticking them back in the envelope. So now when you go charge $100 on that gift card and send it to your niece or nephew, the hackers already got that approval number and they're stealing that money directly. So it's not just people calling you on the phone anymore. They're actually going in the store. So when you buy a gift card, you tell them, I want to verify that that code has not been removed.
Thank.
If you buy gift cards at some of the grocery stores now, they limit the amount you can buy, the number of cards you can buy. That really is frustrating if you're trying to go in and buy 50 cards to give to a mission at church. But I know why they're doing it. They're making sure that it's not going some, be happy for it, that they're at least looking. We have any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you for coming and taking the time. And Kathleen's got something for you.
Yes, I wanted, excuse me, we have some things to raffle off, but I also wanted to let you know that we've got 3 departments here with information. We've got the clerk of the circuit court has information on passports. I think that's it. And then we have senior services here that have a plethora of information about senior services. And then the sheriff's department has some information on their table as well. We also have a comfort dog here, Julia. If you want to say hello to Julia, she's very sweet. So we're going to do a raffle. Have to be here. Sorry, people who are streaming. No. Okay, so Diane, you're going to be in charge of pulling the tickets. You can do that. Yep. Last 3 digits, 714. Oh, there you go. Okay. I don't know what we want to give it. Last 3 digits, 732. Okay. Last 3 digits, 717. 717 going once. Okay. Seven, 3, 8. Okay. 713. Seven, 1, 6. Woohoo. 719. Seven, 2, 1. Seven, 3, 3. Okay. Seven, 3, 0. Okay. Seven, 1, 8. Seven, 1, 5. Okay. 7, 3, 1. 7, 3, 1. Okay. Okay. 7, 3, 5. Okay. Okay. 7, 2, 2. Yeah, these gift cards are legit. Yeah. 7, 3, 7. Seven, 3, 9. Seven, 3, 4. 7, 3, 4. Is she 7, 3, 4? 7, 1, 2. No, okay. 7, 2, 0. Seven, 3, 6. Oh. No. Okay, well. Yeah, yep, you did. You were out of the room, I guess. Yeah. Okay, well, then we'll. Okay, well. Yeah. Nope. All right, well, that's it then. We'll save it for the next event. Okay. That's, Gwen, we can, that's all right. That's, how many things are left? Just 3. Nope. Give them to your retiree. Okay, that's it. And I appreciate everybody coming. And thank you to the people who streamed. I hope you all found this to be informative. Yeah, and our presenters were awesome. So thank you.